folks, we are continuing our road trip on the North Coast Road. I'm ending my visit here to Maracas Bay. This visit was a video of its own called Maracas Bay. If you haven't seen it, make sure to look for it on my YouTube channel. In that video, I covered all of Maracas Bay, walking up and down, including places that you've never seen. In this video, we're gonna go on the road and we will make stops here and there. But this trip is interesting because I'm sure a lot of you have not followed this road all the way till it ends. We are gonna do that today. Most people tend to turn to go back to Arima, but we are not going to go back that way. We are going to continue straight on the North Coast Road. So right now we're leaving Maracas Bay. And like I said, if you have seen my first video, you would have seen all of this before. I will put a link in the description so you can get that first part of that video. This North Coast road trip took me to several places I have never seen before. And really, you could make stops constantly to see all kinds of new things. Well, we would make some specific stops. One such stop is the Tyrico Beach. Although I made that visit in the first video, we will take a quick look at it again, this time by truck. This is Tyrico Bay here. We're gonna turn left. As I said in my first video, I like this beach more than Maracas because it's a little more calm. You can get a little more swimming done. As a kid growing up, less people would come here as well. It wouldn't be as crowded as Maracas, but I'm not sure if that's the case anymore. Even though as you look now, there aren't a lot of people. However, because it's so open and accessible, I don't know, it tends to be a little more free willy with some people. There's an order to it. And because of that, people may stay away from this beach and go to Maracas, where they feel they can have access to facilities and it's more established, but doesn't take away from the beach itself. Although I have not been to Tyrico to sea bathe for a very long time. And as you notice, we are driving on the actual sand. It's not a paved road or anything. There used to be, but it broke up. It got really muddy and I noticed it seems like they moved it all together. So that's the Tyrico Beach. They're doing a little bit of cleaning up. The water looks really nice. I will come back here another day to do an exclusive coverage of this bay, Tyrico. So don't worry about that. But in order to do that, I need to come early when there aren't people around, because when there are people around, it's just really difficult to capture anything without having somebody in the middle of your view. And as you notice, there was a police jeep there. It's good. Keep the law and order. Now on this road trip, we are going to go, of course, on the normal paved roads, and then we will go to some mud roads. So if you like to see adventure, you're gonna get a lot of that today. But these kind of road trips you can only do if you have a truck or SUV with 4x4 coverage. Because if you have just a normal car or whatever, you won't be able to pass on these roads. Although in this video I did see a car do it, but he did it having to make some adjustments with his passengers. Anyway, this is the North Coast Road, and we've passed Maracas and Tyrico. And the next popular beach that people will often go to is called Las Cuevas. Now, I tried to go into Las Cuevas on this road trip, but the problem is by the time we got there, because this was after we did our Maracas Beach walkabout. Well, by the time I got to Las Cuevas, it was already around it was around 10:30, 11. And by that time, the beach was so packed and there was so much cars that it really was not worth it me taking out my camera to film. But you will get a bit of the road at least to Las Cuevas. And another day, again, I will have to come early and record early so that you can see what the beach is like. Las Cuevas, unlike Tyrico and Maracas, is a very calm beach. There aren't any rough waves or anything. Now when I was young, Las Cuevas used to be full of rocks and lots of sandflies. I never liked going there. Sometimes my parents would go there, I guess because it was calmer waters, but I never liked it. But now they have made, moved all the rocks, I guess excavated and put or brought sea sand there. And it's really nice to go and sea bathe there now. However, the crowds is the problem. Sometimes if I pull over like that, it's because I am checking something. Maybe in the truck or in the surroundings. Now there are a lot of other bays here that you can go down to. However, times are different now and road access seems to be a little more private or established private. In other words, they've made it almost like little gated communities. So you start going down there and people are watching you, wondering where you're going. But there are lots of different bays. Some of them you can't get by road, you have to hike. Those of course are not as popular. The bays are not as big, but nevertheless you do get access to the ocean, and a cleaner, clearer ocean too. We are ascending here. I'm probably in gear 2 to go up this mountain. Sometimes it's hard to tell how steep an area is because you're just watching a flat screen, but it is pretty steep. I like how they put the barrier on the left. They make those cages, fill them with rocks, and then put them neatly so that it stops landslides. Very good idea, and it should be done in more places. The road here is actually a lot better too than the initial part where we came in. And as usual, if you find my videos helpful and enjoyable, feel free to go visit JB's Man Cave website. That's the best place to donate. On my sites, I have an option. You can pay by PayPal, and PayPal also accepts credit cards, so you can always donate there. Of course, there's no obligation. You're not obligated to do this. This is just if you are able to and willing to support the work that I do. It is much appreciated. My stray cat there. And in case you don't know or you're new to JB's Man Cave, I am actually a very conservative person. Keep myself to myself, more or less introvert, very happy just doing my own thing. But you wouldn't consider that seeing my channel and me talking here, carrying you through this road trip. Well, the reason for that is I'm a father of special needs children, and that is what drives me. Being a parent of children with special needs causes you to be involved in things that you would otherwise not really do. And hence we have JB's Man Cave. It's a support for them. So I appreciate you being here and watching. So this North Coast Road almost seems like it can go on forever. But the nice thing about it is the winding roads, which some people may not like, but the winding roads in a way entertains. And of course there's all the green. And as I said, this part of the road is not as bad as when you initially come up the North Coast Road from Saddle Road. That clearing on the left used to be very forested, and every time I come here they clear it more and more and more. Not really sure what they're doing by clearing it, if it is that they were planning to put provisions, farming or whatever, or maybe building some sort of structure, but it's always cleared. It used to be full of mud actually, but now I notice grass has grown on it, but it's still maintained to some degree. If you know what that's about, feel free to comment in the YouTube comments of my channel. By the way, when you all submit comments, I personally read all of them, both the good and the bad. But as I have said, I do not approve of comments that focus on political agendas, or calling people names or insulting people, or just being a troll, to put it in net terms. I want to keep the channel family friendly, positive, and even though I cover issues, social issues that may seem negative, I do it with the aim of having a solution, not just a rant, but I often in my videos will give a solution of what can be done. Of course, whether somebody takes it up is another situation, but I don't use my channel for politics and whatnot, or to just gripe. We want this to be positive. And because the channel is not solely on Trinidad and Tobago, although I have a lot of videos on this country, it is not solely about that. It covers a wide range of issues, and if you doubt, go and check the main page of my YouTube channel and you'll see how much is going on there. Now I pulled aside here because I was trying to get a shot of Las Cuevas, but it didn't work out well. But you can kind of see it there on the left, just the outline a bit. Ahead, you know, that hill, that mountain is Las Cuevas village, and you would think that this is the car park, and then maybe you just walk some steps or whatever. But this car park is something kind of impromptu. The beach is actually much further down, but that's to tell you how many people there are today. It's so crowded that they use this car park. And after using this car park, you would have to walk all the way down to get to the beach. You can see all those big maxis, and just imagine each of those maxis are carrying 30 something people. There's cars all on the side of the road. And that's the entrance right there to Las Cuevas. And I can't really show you because there's just too many people. So we just decided to bypass it. Another day too, I will also make a full turn within the Las Cuevas village so you get a better look at that. But we're going to continue on the North Coast Road. Again, for some of you, especially those of you from the west and Port of Spain, once you've been to Las Cuevas, that would have been it for you. You would turn around and head back to Port of Spain, passing Maracas and onto Saddle Road or whatever have you. But this way, if you came from Arima, you would probably head this way if you wanted to flash through Blanchisseuse and then past Brasso Seco and into Arima. Again, I would usually stop like this if there was something of interest. Sometimes my wife is with me too and she sees a flower or an animal or something and she likes for me to stop so she can get a photo of it. In case you don't know, she has her own channel too. It's called trinivegan.com. That's the website, but she also has her own YouTube channel where she gives recipes and so forth. She's a vegan like me. Being vegan means that you don't consume any animal products. And so she gives recipes for people who may be thinking about becoming vegan and want ways to make meat substitutes or milk substitutes or cheese substitutes and what have you. And in case you're wondering why I'm vegan, well, I have videos for that on my YouTube channel. You can look for those if you like. In the search bar of my YouTube page, you can look for vegan. And I have a whole explanation. But for now, we're just keeping on the North Coast Road. And watching all this beautiful scenery. And as you see how the leaves kind of fall, it almost looks like snow. Hail. We have cotton trees like that. Sometimes when the wind blows, all of the little seedlings comes down. And it looks like if snow is falling. Again, as you can see, the road is not bad at all, and it even has a center line marking. The quality of the air on this side is so good. I mean, you really would want to drive with your windows down, not, keeping the air conditioner up and get some of that fresh air. And like I said, some of these places have offshoot roads or trails that would take you down to private bays or other bays. I mean, you could spend all day exploring these. And if anybody has a private bay or place that they feel should be highlighted, feel free to let me know about it and we can make arrangements and I can video and explore it. It's funny, I sometimes I hear people still say you should film it or you should tape it. But really we live in an age where you don't film or tape anything. Everything is called video record or just simply record. But even myself, when I'm talking, I would say, oh, I'm filming or I'm taping. Now you'll notice there isn't as much traffic on this side, and that's because these areas are not traversed a lot, and there aren't many access points to it. It's only the way we came or another way from Arima. So it's not the kind of place you would want to be stuck. Seems like a nice little resort down the left. This is another village. Another village that I would need to come and record at some point. Get more of the nitty gritty. But they have pretty good roads. The only thing I notice is the road sometimes narrows and really should be one lane. You notice there isn't a center line or broken lines. So I don't know if that's a telltale sign of just how narrow the road is. So you do have to be careful. Again, as I said in my earlier Maracas video, if you are not an experienced driver, this is not a place for you to be driving or learning how to drive. But all of this is gorgeous. Coconut trees, somebody took the time to plant some crotons. Make the place look good. This is Caribbean village life. People still walking on the road, carrying their children in their hand. The dog passes by. You see some wooden houses. Life here is more free and with less worry than people who have to cope with city goers. And it's nice to see so many coconut trees. As I said in some other videos, sometimes you're living in the Caribbean, but you don't see many coconut trees. Just concrete. Now check that, how fast that bus was coming in. And as I can show you, it definitely is not a road for two vehicles going casually. Notice that that driver has to slow down. I have to slow down. So again, not for inexperienced drivers. By the way, in case you don't know, I also make crazy driving videos, and a lot of those videos, while I'm focusing on crazy driving in Trinidad, shows a lot of Trinidad itself. So if even you're not interested in crazy driving but interested in seeing Trinidad, you can still view those videos to get pieces of it. Now I just passed a school, the Blanchisseuse secondary school, and at first I thought, oh, that's nice past there, but then I thought, somebody might like to know what the school looks like now, and reversed. To capture it just for you. And you can see how isolated these places are. It's not like you can say, oh, let me run to Port of Spain. No, it would take you an hour or so to get there. But to my surprise, the school here is pretty good looking. They seem to have nice facilities, grounds and whatnot. Not bad. Of course I can't go in because one, today is not a school day, but even if it was, I can't go around filming schools. That's just a no-no. But the surrounding area is really nice. And like I said before, the road is not bad either. No potholes. Or at least no serious ones. It's a small one there. But I'm so used to driving with so many potholes that, when you get a road that's like this, you think it's heaven. In case you don't know too, on JV's Man Cave I also show a lot of the other islands in the Caribbean. And those videos are done with high resolution. Now coming soon, I will be filming in an even higher resolution for local videos. So look out for that. I know you all think my videos are sharp and clear and whatnot, and yes, I try to make it that way, but it's going to be even better. I love when the bamboo kind of makes like a roof over the road. Just look at that. Look at this right here. That looks really nice. I just froze it there for a bit just to take in that scene. I mean, that could be a picture right there. And bamboo planted on the road is not just beauty, huh? The bamboo holds up the earth, keeps it from shifting and from having landslides or, in the case of flooding, being washed away. And so that bridge didn't even have rails on it. And on the left, I believe there's a small river also. Really didn't have time to check. On the way back, when we were coming back, we saw a photographer with models taking pictures. And that shows you just how scenic this place is. It's really nice. You can probably, stop and take in pictures, but this road and this road trip is so long that I really can't stop. But I will be stopping in other places, so don't worry. I will stop and record some of the other areas that you've probably never seen before. If you're abroad and you're thinking of coming here, or if you're in another part of Trinidad and you're thinking of coming here, just make sure your vehicle is in order. You don't want to be stuck here with bad tires, a faulty engine. Make sure to probably have adequate water and food too. When we go on road trips, we always take, extra water, extra drinks, maybe some snacks, whatever. You can never know what will happen. And you want to be prepared. There's some nice landscapes here, nice houses as well. Blanchisseuse. All the getaway homes, resorts. And this area was closed down a lot. And when I say closed down, the commercial side of it, because of the pandemic, hardly had any activity. And a lot of the people in this area count on that. But of recent, the area has opened back up because beaches are now open and so forth. So hopefully they'll be able to re-establish themselves. One thing we noticed while driving was there were a lot of for sale signs on a lot of these properties, probably because of the same issue with the pandemic. People were just losing too much money. I can't imagine having to come out here ever so often to service one of these places. Really, you would have to be part of the area in order to keep and establish a business. Now we stopped here, I think, to take a break for something. I think one of the kids wanted to take a break or whatever, I'm not sure. But what was interesting is we found a path, and I will make a whole video on just that path because it was so interesting. And I'm not showing you that here today. That is a video of its own, but it's coming soon, don't worry. You just have to be subscribed. Make sure to subscribe, it's free, and hit the notification bell. That's a little bell next to the subscribe button. If you don't click on that bell, then it will not let you know right away of any new videos I produce. Being subscribed will let you know, but it lets you know, like if you visit YouTube's homepage, you might see one of my videos, but it will not really push the notification to you. So you also want to click on that bell. Anyway, so we will continue here on the North Coast Road, and you see it's almost like well, the roads start to get bad, but you notice it's like driving through a bit of a residential area because there are a lot of houses around, some nice places, and there's a lot of work going on too, construction and whatnot. So a bit of progress, I guess. There is a beach in this area, Blanchisseuse Beach. Blanchisseuse has a full coastline with a number of beaches, but the main one that people know is where the beach facility is at. And When I haven't been to the Blanchisseuse beach facility for a long time, but I have to admit, when I got there, I was disappointed. It just is not what I remember as the beach I once knew as a child. I used to remember the river would head into the beach, and there was this mixture, and it looked so natural and beautiful. But now, when I went to the beach, it was just like flooded with people, tents, cars. You could hardly pass. I couldn't film it at all, and therefore you will not see the Blanchisseuse beach in this video, unfortunately, because there were just people all over, cars, people drinking, people setting up tents like they had a camp. There was literally no part of the beach area that wasn't covered, and that's unfortunate. However, I do get some shots of other areas in this Blanchisseuse um, drive. And what is, a lot of people do is because they capitalize so much on the fact that one or two little beaches that tend to be public are overcrowded or not well maintained. They will open up their own private beach, an own private road, and charge people to go there. Taking my water break. As I saw that truck pass by, really, if you're coming up here, again, you only want to be in a 4x4 or truck or something. Yeah, you could come with a car, like you see these cars here, but the roads here are not good and they're gonna get worse. You wanna come with a rugged vehicle that could take some bang. When I had returned from my mission in England, some years after, I got a small pickup truck, a Datsun. Some of you remember the Datsuns. It was a full tray, three-seater, and although the makeup of it was similar to a car, it could really take some knocks. That's one of the things that I really liked about it. And ever since having that, I really don't care much for cars. I feel like I must always have a truck, a van, or something like that. Something that could take some pounding. Especially with the roads here. The roads here are terrible. And when I say here, I'm not talking about Blanchisseuse itself or this North Coast Road. I mean, just in Trinidad and Tobago is generally, the roads are in a deplorable state. People complain about it all the time, and you'll see a patch here and a patch there, but there's really no nationwide undertaking to fix the roads. You can get a bit of the beach there on the left. So the waters on here on the north coast is really rough. The full Caribbean Sea, the Atlantic Ocean. coming in. That's the cemetery on your left. I wonder what it would be like to maybe rent a room and stay at a resort here for the weekend or whatever. It will really be a getaway. Now this is like Blanchisseuse proper. You have the fish market on the left, police station on your right. We just passed a sub office. You know, more concentrated areas of houses, places to stay and whatnot, parlors. But that's as busy as it gets, huh? Up here, everything is more or less isolated from the rest of the country. So interesting church there on the left. The bells, the way it was made up. One thing with churches in these remote areas, they are always kept very well. That was the Blanchisseuse Health Center we passed on the right. So as I said, like the main center of Blanchisseuse. Now here's the interesting part. If we take that road to the right, we would go back to Arima. But we are not doing that. We are going onward on the North Coast Road. And this is probably where you all probably have never seen before, because most of you would have gone back up to Arima and that would be it, or you would have gone back to Maracas and that would be it. But continuing on this road is something new, even for me. First time up here. And what adventure it will be. Watching you will see. Now, I would assume most people here would, as far as the nearest populated place to go would be Arima. Um, to get to, and even that's far, because if you saw my Brasso Seco video where we passed through Paria and Arima and all those places to get it, you will know that the drive is very long. I guess if you're making that drive often, it may not seem so long, but for me it's very long, especially because of the winding roads. So many winding roads, you have to drive slow. So to reach anywhere, you know, you'd really have to leave early. Like anything else, you have your limers. It's a nice house, nice gate, fence. You can get a bit of the ocean in the left. A lot of these private properties have their own pathway to the ocean. Not necessarily to sea bathe, but because it's on the coast, they have blocked it off. At first I thought about continuing, but then I noticed that there was a path up a mountain there, and I said, you know, that would make a good shot, so I decided to reverse here. And while reversing, I believe my wife saw a flowering plant that was right by her window and decided she wanted to take some pictures of it. So that's why we paused. She has a good side for photography, capturing a lot of interesting things. So we're gonna go up this hill. And again, sometimes it's hard to see how steep something is, but it's pretty steep. I had to use my 4x4 stick to get up this mountain because it was, you know, it took a lot of strain on the engine. The truck itself is also very heavy, so it's pulling all that weight. Again, not places if you are not experienced. I don't recommend coming up these places unless you have a good vehicle or a truck or something that could take some pound, because the roads are not good either. So we're gonna turn around so I can give you a good view of what I am seeing. I'm also gonna come out a bit here too and record as well. By the way, that guy is coming up the road. You can probably get a gist of just how steep it is. You see he's walking kind of laboriously, if that's even a word. Anyway, so this is the sea, and you hear sound engaged because I'm outside of the truck. You can hear the truck's ZD30 engine chugging away. That's just a bit of this area. I have this big cell phone tower for the area too. Unfortunately, you know, this kind of footage you really can't tell how nice it is. The wind is blowing, you can see by the leaves, you know, the fresh sea breezes going through your nostrils, bringing the sea salt with it. It's just really nice and refreshing. It's good that they have their own recreation grounds here too. So no matter how remote, you know, they have the facilities they need. I like that house on the left there. Looks like a little cottage. It's well done. Sometimes in turning around too, you pick up stuff that you wouldn't otherwise pick up. And this broken piece of road will take us to the Blanchisseuse beach facility, which is where you would come if you wanted to go to the Blanchisseuse beach, but I don't know if you recognize it. And I could not, like I said, even show you it because there was just so many people. I mean, I think I would have to come extremely early because to get to here like a 7 o'clock in the morning, I don't know what time I'll have to start driving, but it's a long trip if I was going to record it. So I'm speeding up the video because I had gotten out the truck to go and take a look around, and when I realized it just wouldn't work out, I kept moving on. Because really we came here to see the Blanchisseuse beach, huh? Like I said, there was just too many people, too many cars on the beach itself as well. I don't even know if that was necessary, and tents all over and people all over. Another time, we're keeping on the North Coast Road, and up here would have taken us to a nice seafront area, but they wanted money to go in. I guess it's a nice little setup. It's too bad everything in Trinidad is about being paid for to access when it's, you know, just nature. Now here's where the interesting part comes in, because I have never been this way, but here there's a front for the two bridges. I believe, yeah, it's called the Blanchisseuse Spring Bridge. One is a 5-ton bridge, the other is 15. But the other one, the 5-ton, I don't think vehicles go there, it's just people going to look around. But it's a very interesting area. You see those little ATVs, those little 4x4 mud vehicles. Those are being used to carry people into the muddy roads ahead, and those roads is where we will go. But I decided to look around here a bit. I saw some people canoeing in the river. I don't think I caught any. No, they went up further, but I did catch this part. Have you been here before? It's definitely something worth coming to see. This was my first visit, and of course you will know from my other videos, I decided I would explore it in the best way I can. Can you hear the birds chirping? And always somebody playing their music. You know, this is a piece of nature where you want to hear the birds, you want to hear the calm, the silence. You don't want to be hearing loud music. I just don't get it. Some people just can't live unless they, you know, have noise in their ears. Maybe I'm getting too old, I don't know. But even when I was young, I didn't care for that either. Now this bridge shakes, huh? If you jump on it or you move or you see like how it have a lot of people on it, it was actually shaking while I was moving. And of course, as you see, you have to be careful because there are holes in the bridge. Again, things that should be maintained but aren't. See that big mud-like structure on the branch? That's a termite's nest, I believe. Unless it's an oversized hornet's nest. This is the bridge where the vehicles will pass, and we will cross it when I get back into my truck. I was hoping to get some of the people canoeing to show you, but nobody came down while I was there. The wind is very strong. I'm gonna find out about these vehicles and what's their procedure for using them, maybe for another time. So that's an option for you, but from what the guy told me, they move around a lot. This is one of the areas they bring these little ATVs to take people on short tours through the mud. I don't know if you picked that up, but he's saying it's 150, 150 for half an hour. 80, I think he said, for 15 minutes. I'm actually not particularly holding the camera anyway. I'm actually just talking to the guy and just picking up this in the background, but at the same time I'm allowing you to see. On the way back, not in this video, but in another video on the way back, you'll see some people riding these vehicles. They look like lots of fun. I remember in the old days, they used to have three-wheeler versions that were outlawed by some places because they used to cause a lot of accidents. Alright, so from here we will get back in the vehicle and we will start driving again. Now, here the road really takes a turn. In most places there is no pitch. No joke. It's just dirt roads and mud. So again, at this point, if you do not have a truck, a 4x4, a vehicle that is made to go through this kind of terrain, do not come this way. Even though you in this video will see a car that's doing it, you will see what he had to do in order to do it. Really, you cannot pass here without a proper vehicle, all terrain or mud tires, maybe raised a bit. You notice the kind of vehicle coming out of here, and you see how it's going up and down in the holes. I'm asking him what the road looks like today, and he's telling me it's really bad, mud and whatnot. And you can see by how that vehicle coming, how it's turning and twisting, going up the uneven road. Excuse me. But we are going to go on this road till we cannot go anymore. So if you have never been on a road like this, you'll get to see it. And hardly anybody comes here. I think in this the entire trip from this part onward, I only saw one vehicle pass us. I believe so. But you know, when you're driving on a road like this, you're always like wondering, okay, what's next? What's gonna happen? How bad is it going to be? Is it safe? And these are some of the questions my family was asking. Some of them were ready to turn back, but I'd always ask, well, where is your spirit of adventure? You're turning back, you're just gonna run back home. This is a one-time opportunity, so I wanted to make sure that I saw all of it. Because it's not like, you just take a moment and run out here. Did you see that bird up ahead? I'm not sure if that was a hawk. But even though the roads are so bad, there's some nice properties here. It's really interesting. And the funny thing about it is there are places on this road that you would think, okay, well, nobody lives here, but there are people living here. And I don't know what they have done to help get them pitch or something on this road, but the roads are really bad. And I could only imagine the torture of it when it rains. I don't even know if it would be, you could pass on a road like that. Look at this. A lot of times we had to stop and I had to figure out, okay, which way is bad, because you have like one way is bad and the next way is worse. Or one might look worse than the other, but you don't know. It's like just trying to figure out which is the best way to pass. And my truck is full with my family, so you have that element of the weight too. Not for a lack of power, but that the truck becomes even heavier and sinks more. So if you're going down deep in one of these, there's a chance that you could sink and get stuck in the mud. That was my main concern, being stuck in the mud. Although I have all terrains, my back tires weren't that great. My front were, but my back tires were a bit smooth, so I was concerned that if I did get stuck, it wouldn't be too nice. And that's part of what coming here does too. You will have to go slow, so it makes your trip even longer. And those mini ATV vehicles, the part of the tour they give you is by coming on these roads, passing through it. So I guess if you do want to do that, you gotta come through all the mud and stuff. That would make for a good video. And you see, they have some nice properties. And when I say nice, it's well kept. And you wouldn't expect it from the state of the road. You think nobody lives here because the roads are just that bad. And those of you who always post on my site saying, oh, the roads in South are so bad and whatnot, I don't think you could argue with these roads. These are possibly the worst roads I've ever seen. These are pure mud roads, huh? There's no pitch here. So if you get stuck, you're stuck, and that's it. Something that might be interesting for here too is mountain biking. But if you are going to do that, you have to be prepared to get a lot of mud on you. I mean a lot. When I brought my truck out of here, it was just covered in the bottom half of it was just covered in mud. Turned from silver to brown. Now look at this little piece of land here. It's really nice. Look out at the ocean. Just taking in a bit of it. Sometimes, I would like to jump out and just start filming something or recording something, but if I just kept doing that, we would never reach. However, I do have plans, like I said, upcoming, where I do plan to have at my facility the ability to film on the spot something. And you see, I'm saying I would film, I mean record something. And look at this property. All these cars, trucks here. I mean, look, the layout looks good, right? Look at the road. You wouldn't think that anybody came here to do anything. But maybe they are purposely leaving it like that so it becomes part of the adventure. I don't know. I really can't say. If you know about this area and why the roads are left in such a deplorable state, please feel free to comment in my YouTube channel. I think this piece here is some of the worst of it. One tip I can give you is that whenever you enter in mud, do not stay long. You enter it slowly, maybe to test, but then you immediately speed up because you don't want to drive so slow that the vehicle starts to sink in that mud. Now, when we reached here, I realized two things. One, it was a nice scene, of course, seeing the ocean. But then there was this road that had no barrier, and it seemed like there was a landslide there. Now look at this car. It's coming through here, and I'm wondering, and I'm thinking. I even stopped him, asked him, "Are you sure you want to go through there?" And he was like, "Cool, yeah, I did it." Look at that little platform there by the rocks to look at the ocean. I thought that was really cool. And I'm using another GoPro here to record this. So that vehicle, that white vehicle you saw just now, it wasn't coming yet. When I turn around here, then he will be coming. And that's where I asked him. See, there he is. That's where I asked him, you sure you're gonna come this way? Now I made sure to stop and look to see how he was going to do this, huh? Because driving a truck, I was like really navigating, and I was wondering how he was going to do it. Well, he had to let out two passengers, and then he basically tried to floor it in order to not sink. So he's kind of moving fast on the mud, but look at how the truck is. The car is going to like see how it's skidding. I was surprised he did that, but that vehicle's axle and stuff must be taking real pressure for that. It's not the kind of vehicle you would use to come up here, and they say don't try it. So the other problem now we were wondering is whether that this part of the road, whether it could take the pressure of the vehicle, because there's nothing on the left. We decided to go through, but I don't know how long that will last. That definitely needs to be repaired. But JB, man cave as usual, passing through just for you. Again, you wouldn't think about it, but there are properties here, and I like how this person took these metal containers and cut them up and made a house out of it. Very nice. And the road here is actually with pitch. So I can't figure out what happened to the rest of the road. But don't think it's like this the whole rest of the way, eh? It's not. It goes back to mud again. Now, there's some areas here that if you're willing to hike a bit, and let's hike down, you can go to the ocean. There are bays on these sides, but you really would need to know where you're going, and you would need to go with people. I would not venture to these places alone or just as a couple. You know, I always like to go to these remote areas with a good sized group. So as you can see, this is a total adventure. You just don't know where this road will go and where it will end, if there's an end. But I can promise you there is an end to it, huh? I was so amazed to see this. This person had a menu, a full menu on the right of things you could buy to eat. And I was like thinking nobody was else would be out here to have a menu. But that's really good, really good. So as you can see, the road goes back to mud. Lots of mud as well. This one was especially like a pool. But I mean, it's really nice. Look at this scene. You're not gonna capture scenes like this just like that. It's really beautiful. I just love the green. Part of the adventure is wondering where it will take you. What next? Where will it end? So this is where we are coming to the end. It's blocked off. There's nobody around. That was kind of weird for us. I was wondering, okay, where is everybody? And I wasn't sure, is this a private road or what? There's an excavator there, but This is it, folks. The road goes up a little bit more, but it just gets deeper into mud. I mean, really deep. And I didn't think it was worthwhile just to say I reached the very, very dead end to go on. I wasn't sure if this road I was going up was private or not. Later, I found out that you can use it to get to some trails, but the road itself ends, and it seems like these people parked here to go on those trails, or because they live here. But as you can see, it was really bad, and I figured to myself, you know what? It doesn't make sense me going in that and then having to turn around.